From lions, tigers, and wolf dogs to cuddly but deadly primates, here are 12 pets that are legal to own. Killer whales. Let's start things off with the last animal you consider for a pet. Would you really entertain the idea of keeping one of these massive animals? Weighing over 13,000 pounds or 6 metric tons and measuring about 26 feet or 8 meters on average, the logistics alone would discourage such a notion. We're including it because we found orcas listed among animals that are legal to own as exotic pets in Canada. While they're obviously not kept as traditional pets, orcas are sometimes kept in captivity. Ontario, Canada passed legislation that bans the practice of keeping them in such conditions. In addition to orcas, the bill protects porpoises and whales from being kept in captivity and bred at facilities like marine parks and aquariums. For the record, Canada also bans giraffes and panda bears from being kept as exotic pets. Owls. The popularity of these birds dramatically increased after being featured in the Harry Potter movies. And chances are, you need some strong magic to own an owl. You'd also need some strong nerve. These raptors can be very destructive and are sometimes known to attack their owners and family pets. Sometimes, not even passerbys are spared from the bird's wrath. In 2015, a rogue owl made international headlines after it swooped and attacked at least 50 humans in a town north of Amsterdam in Holland. That bird was identified as a Eurasian eagle owl. And ironically, that is one of the few owls you can legally own in the US without a permit. Overall, you can't own any native owl as a pet. That includes snowy owls. The animals are protected by the Migratory Bird Treaty Act of 1918. The same law prohibits you from owning even a single owl feather without obtaining a permit from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Band dogs. Their name doesn't necessarily mean that these dogs are banned. The term has been around since the Middle Ages and comes from the Saxon word of banda or chain. After completing its nightly guard duties, the watchdog was tied during the day. Today, band dog usually describes large, non-purebred dogs that are developed for protective work by selective breeding. They're strong animals that can weigh over 140 pounds and will sometimes display some aggressive behavior. That's not what necessarily gets them banned though. The restriction is partly due to the breeds of its parents. Band dogs are often created with certain mastiffs or American pit bull terriers, which can be illegal to own. Pit bulls are not welcome in the UK, parts of Canada, and in much of the US. Penguins. You wouldn't necessarily need a frozen environment to keep these flightless birds as pets. There are upwards of 20 extant species, and some of them have adapted to warmer weather, like the African penguin and the Galapagos variety. Although they're relatively small, penguins can have some big needs, like daily feedings. An average penguin can eat just about 400 pounds of fish each year. They're social birds that feed and nest in groups of 20 or more. Just having one or two hanging around could adversely affect their health. That being said, it's extremely unlikely you could legally obtain one for a pet anyway. We can't stress that point enough. All species of these critters are protected by international laws and treaties. Lions. Requirements for having the king of the jungle as a pet are similar to owning a tiger. While keeping lions as pets are either banned outright or strongly regulated in the majority of the US, there are still a few out there where it's allowed. Oklahoma is one, and so is Nevada, which seems to be very lenient when it comes to owning huge dangerous beasts as pets. As with tigers, these animals look cute and cuddly when they're cubs. At that time, they weigh about 3 pounds or 1.4 kilograms. Within a year, they're at about 50 pounds or 23 kilograms. As adults, they can tip the scales at more than 550 pounds or 250 kilograms and have sharp teeth and claws. You can find many stories of pet lions fatally attacking their owners, even if they have expertise in managing the animals. In 2019, a circus lion attacked his trainer in eastern Ukraine and savagely mauled him. At least that guy survived. Slow loris. There are 8 recognized species for this small primate, and it's obvious why people want to own them for pets. They're just so darn cute. But the cuddly appearance and the unusual name hide a startling fact. This is one of the world's few extant venomous mammals, and the toxin they distribute can be potentially lethal to humans. The fuzzy primate releases a toxin from its elbows, which is placed into its mouth. That can result in a venomous bite, which can induce anaphylactic shock in some victims. While that's quite rare, the animal's bite is painful and causes severe swelling. It's one reason why their canine teeth are usually removed by wildlife traffickers, often without anesthesia. The animals are quite difficult to keep and will stink up their surroundings due to their foul body odors and their habit of marking territory. Slow lorises are native to Southeast Asia, where they're often protected by local laws and by international conventions. They're still exported around the world illegally for the pet trade. Most states in the US have partial or complete bans on owning non-human primates, which defines this animal. Alligators. While logic would seem to argue against it, there are plenty of people out there who would like to keep these large reptiles as exotic pets. In some parts of the US, we found that a gator can be kept with a permit. In some cases, these animals have been kept as pets for years, if not decades. One such story we found involved a woman in Florida who rescued and adopted a gator. Over 7 years, it grew from 1 foot or 30 centimeters to more than 6 feet long or 2 meters. That exceeds the state's restriction requiring gators that length to be kept on property with at least 2.5 acres of land. Places that allow keeping alligators as pets typically require an enclosure large enough to keep the animal in for a while. Owners must also take full liability for any damage inflicted by the beast. Most states in the US won't allow you to keep them as pets, and they're widely banned in Canada as well. Monkeys. While non-human primates are kept as exotic pets, many experts strongly warn against the practice. The animals have a lot of specialized needs, and as they mature, they'll grow bigger, stronger, and more aggressive. Some species like the rhesus macaque monkeys can transmit dangerous viruses, including herpes B. Monkeys have been banned in 19 states in the US, including California and New York, but some states will allow their ownership with a permit. There are some stringent standards to meet if that is required. It can include spending at least 1,000 hours volunteering with the creatures, along with obtaining reference letters and passing written exams. Sugar gliders. The fact that they're marsupials might give you a clue as to their origins. They're small possums that were introduced to Tasmania, but the animals are endemic to the Australian mainland. Although they resemble flying squirrels, sugar gliders aren't related to them. They do share a similar talent for gliding through the air thanks to the membrane that extends from their forelegs to their hind legs. The largest specimens measure up to 12 inches or 30 centimeters from nose to tail tip and weigh about 5 ounces or 140 grams. They're so small, they're often called pocket pets. They've become popular pets with some impressive aerial abilities, and you can legally own them in Canada. But there are many places where it's still legal to keep them. In Australia, that includes Queensland and New South Wales. While most states in the US allow them as pets, California, Hawaii, and a few others do not. Wolf dogs. As their name suggests, these canines are a hybrid of a wild wolf and a domestic dog. Thanks to that genetic mix, their behavior can be often more unpredictable than their parent species. Records of dogs and wolves being crossbred date back to the 18th century when a hybrid was produced in Great Britain. Since then, several wolf dog breeds have been created, including the Czechoslovakian wolf dog, which is a cross between a wolf and a German shepherd dog. While many owners argue that these animals present no greater danger than a domestic dog, we found several cases where the animals attacked and killed their owners. That includes a 2006 fatality in Pennsylvania, where a 50-year-old woman was killed by the pet hybrids that she raised from pups. Many countries like Norway won't allow you to keep them as a pet. In the US, regulation of these critters is left up to individual states. Alaska, Hawaii, and New York are a few of the states that prohibit their ownership. Chimpanzees. They might be our closest living relative in the animal kingdom, but that doesn't mean they make suitable pets. While people can be taken in by the cuteness of a baby chimp, they don't stay small forever. By the age of 5, a chimp has become too strong and too clever to be controlled. Their unpredictable behavior, along with the natural instinct to dominate their surroundings, can lead to a potential attack and other damage. A mature chimp can have up to 6 times the strength of a human. That power, combined with their sharp teeth, means that these animals can easily inflict severe injuries on humans. And there are plenty of cases where they've done so in the past. More than half the states in the US have banned owning chimpanzees as pets. And number 1, tigers. Did you know there are more tigers estimated to live in the state of Texas than exist in the wild? Up to 5,000 of these animals are thought to reside there. While most of them inhabit the zoos or sanctuaries, many of them are legally kept in private backyards as pets. Considering that these beasts can average 675 pounds or 306 kilograms, those better be some huge yards. While Texas and other states require a permit to own tigers, other states like Alabama and North Carolina don't even require that. 21 states in the US prohibit all types of exotic pets that are deemed dangerous, and that includes tigers.